Alrighty, hello. Welcome to Star Wars from a certain point of view. This is Carlos and Chris. I'm Carlos, that's Chris, and today we have a great show. We have Eric Walker, star of the Ewok films from the classic 80s. Eric is going to be here today and answer some questions from our viewers, and this is going to be a really good time. Stay tuned, guys. Alrighty. Hello and welcome to Carlos. Wrong. Scratch. Take two. Welcome to Star Wars from a certain point of view with Carlos and Chris. We do our live YouTube streams every Thursday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. Please make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications so you do not miss a single episode. This is really fun. This is in addition to, not instead of, our podcast that we drop on Mondays with me and Chris. We talk everything Star Wars. And if we get a chance to talk to anybody who actually worked on the films of Star Wars, we got to jump at that chance to talk to these guys.
We get excited.
Absolutely. And today we have Eric Walker. Thank you so much for joining us, Eric. This is fantastic. How are you, buddy?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me on your show, Carlos, and love you guys. Love what you guys do as well at Big Top Collectibles. So yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks,
that's awesome. And that's where we met you. We were, I'm the owner of Big Top Collectibles, and we do live streams on Tuesdays. And our buddy Stephen Green Leader, was like, Eric Walker's was watching. And we were like, I was like, okay, my buddy Eric. And I was like, because it can't be Eric Walker. And he said the original Mace. And we were like, oh my God, exactly, the original Mace. And then to be honest, Eric, we kind of froze up. We were like, Eric Walker's watching us.
Yeah.
And for our viewers out there, let me give a quick background on Eric, and feel free to add to this. At age 11, you were determined to pursue your dream of acting. You soon came into contact with a couple of agents, which got you into your first television role as Webster.
Yes. Actually, it wasn't the first role, but it was one of my first roles. Sure.
Yeah. Oh, nice. The original Webster. That's awesome. And then and then how do you say? So is it Mace Tawani?
Yeah, Mace Tawani.
You were the original Mace. You were the original Mace in Star Wars, man.
Yeah,
man.
Sorry, Sam. Sorry.
You're the original Mason Caravan of Courage and Ewok Adventure and Ewoks: The Battle for Endor, which was set in the Star Wars Expanded Universe after being recruited by Lucasfilm. Now, you also had guest appearance on other TV shows, New Leave It to Beaver, Filthy Rich. And here's what blew me away. You were Robert Downey Jr. You were Iron Man's little brother in the film Less Than Zero. And
I was his little brother. Did you love it?
Less Than Zero is a pretty rough film. It's pretty it's a great film, but it's a hard watch sometimes because it deals with the really difficult subject matter. But I had no idea this whole time that was you. I was like, that's Eric? Wow.
That's me. I was his little brother. There were more scenes. It's based on that book. If you remember the book Less Than Zero. And that was way more risque and it went a lot further. But of course they had to tame it down for Fox. For film and for sure, and I had more scenes, but as it happens, it hits the cutting room floor. I had like 2 or 3 other scenes as well that didn't make it in the movie. I wish it would have, because it would have established my character a little bit better than just showing up and getting a fight with my bigger brother Robert. So I get to tell everybody I beat up Iron Man.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
No, really quick before Chris asks you a couple of questions, what was Robert Downey Jr. like? Did you know back then he was lightning in a bottle? Did you have any idea he was going to be this super mega star? Or
I mean, you kind of people when you meet him if they got star quality for sure. Hi, Green Later. Hi, Sarah. How you guys doing? You kind of know a little bit, but that was early in his career, so he hadn't done a lot. I think he was in Weird Science or something like that before that.
Yep.
But Robert came from the industry. His dad was a director. Okay. So people knew him in the industry already. So they kind of knew him as, Robert Downey Jr., that his father was a director already. So we knew what was going on basically. So
nice.
A little bit. Yeah.
That's awesome. Chris, what did you have, buddy?
Oh yeah. Well, Eric, thanks for joining us. It's pretty cool to have you here, man. This is sweet. Anytime we get somebody that's actually been in Star Wars, that's just blowing my mind, man. So
lucky.
yeah, totally. So, how old were you? Let's see. So, the Ewok Adventure, Caravan of Courage was the first one, right? Came out in, was it 85?
84.
84. Yeah, it was the year
after Jedi. Yep,
that's right. Okay, and then was it 1 year later that the Battle for Endor came out?
almost to the day. It was like a couple days different because a year it changes. The Ewok movie was the November 20. I think there's a poster back there. What is it? I'm forgetting. So long ago.
Yeah.
November 25th. And it was called the Ewok Adventure here. It wasn't called Caravan of Courage. That was its foreign theatrical title overseas.
That's right.
We got robbed here. It was like, it wasn't in a movie theater here, but overseas, everywhere. But even in Mexico, it was in a movie theater. It just in America and Canada, it was released on television.
Yep. I read that it was on in Mexico, Germany, New Zealand, and Australia.
Yeah, although it's been, I used to get fan letters from South Africa, from Australia, South America. A couple of them were kind of strange. We won't get into that because fans are weird. It's weird things to ask, and most of it was girls, asking me if I had a girlfriend, at the time.
Yeah. Can you send us a lock of your hair? That kind of thing.
Not too much to that, but
not too weird.
And I enjoyed writing back to them, and I started I had a lot of pen pals all over the world, and that was great.
Yeah, pre-internet, right?
Yeah, definitely. There was nothing. You had to write it and stick it in the mail and wait a month.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, I'll jump in there, Chris, really quick. So were you aware of the magnitude of Star Wars at that time? Like, you landed Star Wars. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like,
I was very aware of that it was George Lucas and it was Star Wars. Who don't know, back then the third movie had come out. I for whatever reason, when I was younger, I didn't go to the movie theater a lot, so I did not see A New Hope, the first one, or Empire in the movie theater.
Whoa!
But I was old enough and at the right age to go watch Return of the Jedi, and I loved it so much. I think I probably saw it 12 times in a movie theater. That's even before I got Caravan of Courage, the Ewok movie. So I knew what Ewoks were. I knew it was a really big deal. It's like, pinch me. Am I, dreaming? Is this is my dream to be an actor, but is this really happening? Type of moment for sure.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like the backup character or like the the guy, the friend of the friend of the friend. It was like the main guy. It was like you and the little girl.
And it was my first starring role because I had done nothing but small parts, bit parts. So it was a big deal. Not only that, because it was George Lucas, but it was my first starring role. So to this day, we're talking about a film I did back in 1984.
Right.
That's incredible. They didn't even think it. I would, when we were on the set, for example, the Lucasfilm publicist loved me, and she kept saying, "I'm going to make you a huge star." And Eric, you know how long you're going to be a star? This is, I said, I'm probably a long time. This is Star Wars. Wow. And I said, maybe, 10 years, 10 years. And no, I said a couple of years. And she said, no, about 5 or 10 years, you're going to be a big name. Wow. They thought it would be 10 years and nobody knew anything about it. They didn't know we'd be talking 30 years later and having these celebrations. They didn't even think this would go on this long at Lucasfilm.
So. Wow. And so how again, Chris said, the second movie is The Battle for Endor, correct?
Yes.
And so when you were filming the first one, The Caravan of Courage, was it already green lit? The second one was like ready on standby? Or
we were signed to do a trilogy. So we were supposed to do 3 movies.
Wow.
And they just picked up the option to do the second one. And then the third one, I've heard through the rumor mill, I don't know if it's true or not. There was actually a script for a third Ewok movie that didn't get off the ground, but it actually got to the stage where they wrote the first script for the Ewok movie. But they got too busy, or something was going on at Lucasfilm at the time. Like they were just doing too much stuff, and they just kind of shelved it. But the Ewok movies were kind of like George Lucas's. He was making these for his daughter. So with like a dad trying to make his daughter happy because she loved Ewoks, and she was about the same age as Sindel, my little sister. Right. So that's a big reason why what happened in the second movie happened. Well, actually, my fate, I understand, and I just learned this recently, that the fate of Mace and the family was decided the weekend before they started the writing session.
No, really?
Literally, because George Lucas and his daughter watched a movie called Heidi about Shirley Temple and her being an orphan. So the next Monday, after the weekend when they started the first writing sessions, George said, "Hold it, we're not gonna. All these other guys we're talking about, I want it to be like Heidi, and we're gonna get a hermit." It all changed, and George was like that though. When he makes a decision, it's a spur of the moment, and when he makes it, it's final. So
yeah,
Wow.
So my daughter, she grew up watching your shows. Like I was like, what, 15, I think, when the movie came out. So I was not as into Ewoks.
Yeah, we were in high school when the Ewoks.
But I definitely watched it and thought it was kind of cool. It's part of the story. But my daughter now, she's older now, but has watched it a ton. And she always mentions, when I told her we were going to interview you, she thought, "Oh, this is great," and she told me she loved the journey that your character took in the first movie. Because she said,
he changed a lot. Yes.
You were kind of not bratty. I don't mean bratty, but
he was bratty. Yes. He was a jerk. He didn't trust the Ewoks. He thought that they were like walking hairbrushes or whatever he called them.
Yeah.
So he didn't trust them. And he was a lot worse. He was even more mean-spirited. He did they cut some scenes out where he was doing other things like tripping him and other stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
I'm kind of glad they did.
And you kind of went on like your own little hero's journey there.
Yeah,
from bratty kid to hero that saves his parents, right? And you were one of the things. Man.
Yeah, well, one of the things that shines, and I watched it. I hadn't seen the movie. I can't tell you how long it's been since I saw the movie, but I watched it just to see what it looked like on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I got from my performance and remembering back when I was doing the role was that he really, really cared about his sister, and he really loved his sister. And he was very concerned about her well-being. And when I watched it, I go, wow, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to show a journey, how he changed and became a better person too.
That's cool, because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And then moving on then to Battle for Endor, like I told you, my daughter, she was so mad that you had the demise that you had at the beginning of the stinking movie, man.
Everybody was mad. Everybody was mad.
So
it was
sad.
probably the first. You see how George took all this flack because of the prequels.
Yeah.
The first flack he took was from Ewoks: A Battle for Endor.
You killed off Mace.
They were mad. Even the reviews, a lot of the reviews at the time were like, why did you set this story up with his family, make everybody care about him, and then have a little girl who's an orphan? I understand because he was doing it based on that movie now.
Sure.
Yeah. But at the time, they didn't like it. And they said, you just killed your audience. Although Aubrey Miller did a great job as Sindel, I can't take away her performance. And in many aspects, I actually like a lot of the Battle for Endor. I like elements from that more than Caravan of Courage myself, personally, as a movie-going a watcher. I actually like the Battle for Endor a little more than Caravan of Courage in many respects, because I like the action.
It is good.
I like all those things. And a lot of those had to do with Joe Johnston, who kind of basically was doing a lot of the second unit directing and there was a lot of drama that went on the set. We won't get into all that. But that's why Joe had to direct. He basically ghost directed a big percent. Like he directed every scene that has Wilford Brimley in it. I'll just tell you that, because Wilford wouldn't work with the directors.
Wow.
Yeah, he quit. He wasn't even going to finish the movie. He was so mad because originally Teak was supposed to be like closer to smaller in size than like Yoda. Teak was supposed to be like a Muppet or a puppet. And he didn't like that. He goes, I ain't acting with no Muppet because I have, you better take care of your diabetes. No, I'm just joking.
you're actually, that was a pretty good, that was good, man. Your impersonation.
Yeah. Oh, that is pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Man. Now, so I stand corrected. And again, I'm always about learning, because, I was always a kid in class raising my hand, asking questions. And I always assumed that from my chair, that's my point of view, that some of the backlash in Star Wars, pretty much from me and the group of friends that we grew up with, and me and Chris were here from the beginning, from 77, and we saw it in 80. So when The Jedi came out in 83, that was the first time I remember sitting at the lunch table, and we were kind of like, kind of starting to argue about like Leia's not his sister, the Ewoks can't beat the Empire, the blah blah blah.
Well, the Ewoks were a big thing too. Yeah, it's like, really? They did that to the stormtroopers? No way, man.
Exactly. But then as I got older, because I've been doing this my entire life,
right?
I thought it really started with the special editions, because then it's like, why are you adding this and why are you changing this and why are you doing that? And then, I stand corrected, because you're right, because with the Ewok stuff, what they did with your character in the second movie was one of the first lefts that we took, that we were like, oh, what are we doing, kind of a thing. And so me and Chris always joke with each other. I'm like, we pretty much have Star Wars and we have Empire, right? And those are great bookends, and everything after that is pretty much up for debate, because we can all pretty much, so far at least, I hope we can still agree on Star Wars and Empire, and everything else is just, throw to the wind and just duck because of all the debris that's going to come.
Well, it's still everything that even the prequels and everything that's Star Wars related, Star Wars, to me, it's still better than most of the stuff that's made out there. Even people complaining about George and the prequels, I like a lot of elements of the prequels. Do I like it over the originals? No. But if I look at it, the special effects are awesome. The editing's great. The music's good. The acting's solid. I don't have a problem with. It's our Star Wars. It's our baby. The original trilogies. That's why people had a problem with it. I get it. But if you look, and now that they're releasing, with the Mandalorian and the Bad Batch and all the cartoon stuff, and you're seeing more Star Wars stories, right? You're starting to see that you accept it more. And I know that this next generation that's going to watch on Disney Plus, Caravan of Courage, and the Ewok movies are going to accept it more, and they may like it better because they've now had the Mandalorian and other stuff that helped set the way now.
Absolutely. So, and I was proud to be part of that movement where we were signing the petition to get the Ewok movies on Disney Plus. We were like shipping it. We were like mailing it and getting it in everybody's mailbox.
And it worked, guys.
It worked.
And
that's awesome, man.
And don't underestimate the power of Star Wars fans, because we got up near 5,000 signatures, and I've actually heard from someone on the inside that Lucasfilm and all of them did see the petition, and it did say something to them. So
that's really cool. Yeah, I was wondering about that. That's one of the things I was going to ask, is because we first heard about that when we were we were doing the live stream show on Facebook there, and
well, I thought, no way. They just decided to do it because maybe there's no content. But then someone who I know that works there said, no, Eric, it was because of the petition. But
that's awesome.
We're not going to say that. But yeah.
Good for you. Now, do you
good for us, right?
Well, yeah. Good for us, but I'm hoping you get any kickback from that. Does that help you out?
I don't know what the rules are on the streaming stuff, because back then the contracts were different. Right. I haven't had a residual from the Ewok movies probably in forever. I get more residuals from being Robert Downey Jr.'s brother than anything.
Oh my god!
Because he became Iron Man. So that and some other stuff. I was in She's Out of Control with Tony Danza, and I get residuals from that. So and stuff like
I didn't know you were in that one. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love Tony Danza. Taxi's one of my favorite TV shows ever.
Yeah,
I'm showing my age now.
That's okay.
So really quick,
we all are.
Yeah. So Chris, you have another quick question before I go to like the big question with Eric?
I was curious. So in the process, maybe I'm sure, I know it was 30 years ago now. It was way back. But do you keep in touch with any of the actors? Like, I'm sorry, the actress that played Sindel?
Aubrey Miller?
Yeah, Aubrey, yeah.
Well, we did one convention together. I convinced her to do one convention back in the early 2000s. And I think she kind of did it because we last time we had kind of lost touch for a while. So we never even saw each other as adults at that moment. So I think she wanted to see me again. Is why she agreed to do it.
Because she didn't.
Yeah, she didn't do it any other reason. And I think the reason why she won't continue to do them is because she doesn't remember making the movies. She was 4 years old when she did those movies. And she sat there all weekend, and people were asking her questions all weekend long. What was it like to do this? And I only remember a couple things. How much do you remember when you were 4? Yes, you remember she did do the movies, of course, but you don't remember. She might remember a couple major parts of it. She goes, I remember Eric because we were still like family for years afterwards. After the movie, we were family and we did vacations together. I would go up. They lived in Northern California, like in the Santa Rosa area, even further north. And so I went up there and stayed with them. For a brief period of time, she thought she was going to try to do some more work other than the Ewok stuff. So she got an agent down here. So they would travel down here. And Wilford wanted her to be in that TV series he was doing at the time. And she turned it down. They offered her a part in that.
Oh, wow.
The one about Our House, or what is that what it's called? Something House. He had a show
I'm drawing a blank
on CBS.
Yeah,
it was a long time ago. It wasn't the most successful thing, but it lasted 2 or 3 seasons, I think. So she said no to that because she didn't want to get her parents were more laid back and kind of anti-Hollywood and similar to George how he was as well. And they didn't want to get her too wrapped up into that stuff. But to answer your question, we've kept in touch over the years. Mostly now it's just email back and forth. I think I got something from her over the holidays, and I replied back. And I was going to try to get her to at least do a private signing, but she just doesn't remember that stuff. So she's moved on past that.
It kind of reminds me of Carrie Henn, I believe her last name, from who played Newt in Aliens. She does a lot of the same thing too, because everyone just asks her questions left and right, and she's like, I was like 6, like she doesn't really remember and stuff like that. Did you ever get to actually talk to George Lucas at all, one-on-one or anything? Or
George visited the set, on a weekly basis. He was very involved in the movie. In fact, and then when we did the reshoots, he directed the entire reshoots because the director John Cordy had a prior commitment, so he had to step in and actually direct. He never admitted it until not too long ago, but in fact, there's a book out called Star Wars Archives. I don't know if you guys have gotten it, the big book.
Yep.
And in it, there's a picture of George Lucas directing me from the reshoots. Yeah.
Yeah, we both have this book.
Yeah, so if you go to page 584, you'll see.
Oh my God, you know it, 584.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
This thing
starts on that, but I think the picture's on. There's a picture of George Lucas actually directing me. The scene that he's talking to me about is where Mace sticks his hand into the tree, the monster.
Oh yeah,
he's talking to me about that and that setup.
That's cool.
But now it's out and nobody cares anymore. So because he had that issue with the Directors Guild and the Producers Guild, so he wasn't directing back then.
Okay.
I'm almost there. I'm on page 600. I got it back.
You got to find it, right?
I'm working.
Yeah, so I'm in touch with her. I'm in touch occasionally. Warwick and I might send an email.
I was going to ask if you guys kept anything going.
A little bit. I mean,
you guys were similar ages at the time.
We were 3 days apart. I was 14, and our birthdays are 3 days apart, so we were both the same age, 14 years old.
Right on.
So, there's George directing me. Yeah,
there it is.
Yep.
Check it out.
Oh, I can't hold the book any longer.
Okay, it's a heavy book. Yeah,
it's an awesome book, dude.
It is a great book.
Yeah.
So and over the years, recently there was a big not this year, the year before. Hi, Sarah, how you doing? Did I keep anything from the sets? I'll answer that, Sarah. Give me a second. But we had almost like a Ewoks reunion in Florida, and Wilford was supposed to be there, but he was too sick, and then he died shortly after that. So he wanted to come out with us, but myself was there. Kevin Thompson, who played Chukatrak, Nikki Botello, who did Teak, was there. Dame Sean Phillips, who was the witch in The Battle for Endor, was there. Wow. Who else? Mark Dotson, who did the voice of Teak. A bunch of us were. Oh, the King Tarek, the gentleman who played the king in it. What's his name? Carl Strickton, who also was in all the Star Trek and Addams Family and all this other stuff. He was there, so we had a great time, and it was like the first time we all got together, which was great. It was
that's really cool.
Convention in Florida. There might be something online about it. But Sarah, did I keep anything from the sets? There's a scene. There's a stick that I kept where not Wicked stick, but there's a scene where Chukatrak goes and tries to rescue Sindel because the horse took off with her. When they're starting to come back, while they're waiting for them to come back, right before they show up, because Chukatrak saved the day, you'll see Mace has his axe and he's hitting the stick. I have the stick from that I was hitting on screen. So that's the only thing. Yeah.
Aww, you only got to keep the one thing.
What was it like shooting a blaster in that one little tiny battle scene in the second movie?
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to kill as many of those Marauders as I could.
There you go.
I was excited that I wasn't killed off already. And who says Mace died? I mean, you see a hut blow up. What if it blew up and it hit his life monitor and destroyed it, and his arm's injured? I mean, Boba Fett survived the Sarlacc pit.
That's right.
You think Mace would survive. So I'm not. I don't think Mace died, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I'm with you there. I like that. I like it. Positivity,
like
man.
Samuel Jackson says the same thing about Mace Windu. His Mace is like,
I don't think Mace Windu died either. I agree. Yep.
I think how cool would it have been to see your character Mace show up in the sequel trilogy? He just would have showed up as a part of the Resistance. That would have been awesome.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Well, yeah, that's another thing of a contention we could talk about. But when we made the movies, we were told that this took place about 150 years after the Battle for Endor.
Oh,
and
didn't know that.
And Tom Smith even says in Bantha Tracks that they asked that question: when does this take place in the Star Wars timeline? And he said, "Well, we're not saying when it took place, but we're of the contention that it took place after the Battle for Endor, because when when Wicket and Sindor are doing the Star Cruiser crash scene and the toys there, one of them looks like an ATSD, one of the little toys there, and they did that on purpose, like the Empire had been there."
Interesting. So, but the like Wicket, the Ewok, he couldn't have been 100-something years old, right? He was still kind of young looking.
We talked about that. He said Wicket is still a teenager and he's about 200 years old. We Ewoks live very long lives, like Wookiees. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Fair enough. So maybe Eric, let's get a petition going. Maybe you could still be in a Star Wars film.
Yeah,
right, if they're that far ahead after the sequel trilogy.
Why not?
Well, I mean, I'd be happy if they finally made some action figures from the Ewok movies, because Mace would be a great action figure. He has so many accessories, from his blaster to his axe to his life monitor to the stick. He's got. He had that little fire starter that started the fire. He had a knife that he used to hit one of the spiders. So he had a great belt, with a lot of stuff on it. So
cool gear, yeah.
Do they have to, sorry, Chris. Do they have to contact you if they ever do an action figure? Like,
I don't think. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Should be a Mace hot toy, man.
Sign away your likeness. Is that how that works, or they can do?
I never signed anything with them to allow them to do that unless there was something in that contract. But I know when I worked for Disney, there was something in the contract about what you're talking about. And when I made the movie Little Spies with Mickey Rooney, if they had made action figures based on that gang that I was in, the Water Street Gang, I would get 2% of all them, 2% or whatever they sold of that character.
Gotcha. We got a question here from Ryan that says, "Hey Eric, how would you have had the third film of the trilogy play out to close the story?"
That's a good question. I would just say maybe show more, have the Ewok introduce more characters, and there's more happening on the Forest Moon of Endor. They did a lot of that. If you watch the Ewoks cartoon, they introduced other creatures, which we didn't get to have in those two movies. So I would introduce that and maybe have some sort of adventure that Wicket goes on, and maybe Mace is alive, maybe he's not, and if he whatever, I would just do something like that. So there's lots of ways. I'm sure if they ever decided to, since if it it's on Disney Plus now, so if it gets streamed a lot, maybe Disney could do another movie or do a series about the Ewoks. That would be great.
Yeah.
We got to get you on the Mandalorian, man. Even though the timeline doesn't really line up.
Don't work now.
Since they steal so many things from the Ewok movies, that would be nice. No, I'm just joking. It would be an honor though, because I really respect Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. They're brilliant. They're great. Of course, I can't say enough about them, and you could just tell they care, which is why it's so good. Yeah.
Which is a great
Agreed.
thing. And so here's
Yeah.
the big question. Everybody that we talk to, we just got to like set the barometer and find out where everybody's at. There is no wrong answer to this question, Eric, and just
Okay.
be honest and just, it is what it is. But we
Uh-huh.
always ask everybody, we all agree on the Holy Trilogy. Like the original trilogy is a thumbs up from you, correct?
Yes.
Star Wars, Empire, Jedi, thumbs up.
Uh-huh.
Where are you at on the prequels? Like yay or nay, or mostly good, mostly bad, or?
I would say mostly good, but they're not as good as the original.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have a problem with them. If you look at them, the way George decided to make them, now that he did his space western one, now he's showing what it was like behind the curtain, behind the veil, the cleanness of what high society is. I understand what he was going for, and I respect that. So it was a very different take on what he wanted to do originally.
Sure. Okay. And the sequel trilogy. Take your time.
You can say it.
Well, when the first one came out, The Force Awakens, I liked it a lot, and I was very happy to see the way the direction they did. I liked some of the dialogue. It was pretty evident that they were trying to capture something a little bit different, but still in the same style and same vein as the original trilogy. That's what I liked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And even though there were subtle messages too, like they were throwing back at the prequels, which some people say they're not subtle messages. They may or may not be. Then they gave it to another brilliant filmmaker, Rian Johnson, on the sequel. But where he went with it, I want to know what happened. That's what I want to know, because when he was making that movie, J.J. Abrams said he wished he could make the movie. The script was so good. Exactly. So I would like to see an original script that he gave them and he turned in to make that movie, and see how different it is from what happened on screen.
Now, if it was even any different, we don't know. We don't know if it was like verbatim.
We may never know that, but I have a feeling it was very different.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever know.
Why would JJ say he wished it was before it even came out? He was saying that when they were making it. He goes, I read the script. Now I wish I would have done the second one. You remember he said all that?
I do.
This has been way before they started production. So what happened there? And with production, stuff happens, so I get it.
In my own head canon, Eric, it's like again, you're not wrong. Nobody's wrong with opinions. We respect everybody's opinions. I in my own head canon. So I'm friends with I'll just use their first names. A gentleman named Walter. Walter's a film insider, and Walter gets me in on a lot of stuff. And I love you, Walter. And I'm going to have Walter on the show, so please tune in for that. But Walter's personal friends with Rian Johnson, and so I've had dinner with Rian Johnson and Walter twice. And Ryan's from Colorado, where we're from, and Ryan is a huge Star Wars fan. No matter what anybody says, Ryan loves Star Wars and can talk Star Wars.
I bet.
So from my chair, from just listening to the conversations that I've been privy to, and I've just been kind of like a fly on the wall, and I didn't have to sign like any NDAs or anything, but it's just like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I think it was almost verbatim. I think that because it was such now execution could have been completely different. I get it. JJ is not Ryan, is not George, is not Francis Ford Coppola.
Everybody's different.
David Fincher is not.
Totally.
I get it. But the execution, but I think it was such a, oh my gosh, that JJ thought, the first one was like a throwback love letter to the original Star Wars film. The Last Jedi was something so new and fresh that JJ was like, I could do something really good with this. Now I think the execution could have been black and white, but I think just for me, from my chair, and again, I can't really prove it, I think it would be more the same than it would be different. Although I understand what you're saying, that maybe it was completely different. Maybe JJ was like, wait a minute, this isn't what I read. And like Chris says, we'll never know.
And how much did they cut out? Maybe they cut out so much. Maybe he turned in a longer film and they cut it too much.
Well,
I don't know.
True. That's very true.
And one question I did ask Ryan, because there's a deleted scene of Luke mourning Han in the hut. He's just kind of sitting there by himself. It's literally like 15 seconds, and it's a beautiful shot. And one thing, The Last Jedi looks cinematically, like it is a really well shot.
Oh, obviously,
you can push pause at any moment of that movie and make a poster out of it, pretty much. And I was like 12 seconds. Like, why didn't you leave 12 seconds of Luke mourning his best friend? you know, kind of.
Oh, that would have totally changed half the opinions of the movie.
I think so. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I also, and again, I didn't get an answer from that. And I also didn't get an answer for this because, you know, it's me. You'll get to know me as you get to know more of me. I got to just ask questions, like I said. And I was like, God, if I was in that room at the table when Ryan was planning this out, there's no way I would have Luke throw the lightsaber over the shoulder. I get what you're saying there, Ryan, but I wouldn't have done it. I would have had him either walk around Rey, not touch it, or maybe grab it, put it away for later, or maybe grab it and slowly drop it or set it down. I'm like, because once she just threw it, it was so jarring that when I saw it in the theater about a week before it dropped, I literally stood up in my chair.
Right.
And I was like, whoa, like it was such a slap in the face, but not a slap in the face like, how dare you? But it was more like it was so jarring that it just, you know.
Well,
so
my biggest problem with Luke as a character is he just seemed too whiny to me. He didn't seem like what George and even Mark talks about this when they made the originals. There's a tape of him talking about how maybe later in the future Luke's going to become like old Ben Kenobi, and he didn't. That character was nothing like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Agreed.
He was older.
Agreed.
I feel again,
but he's a different person too. So Luke, when he was younger, was a whiny boy too. So maybe he, as a senior, he's gonna do the same thing. So
he reverted, right?
Yeah.
I just feel like he was broken, and for me, it's like instead of. Again, from my chair, instead of me saying he would never do that, I looked more inward and said, why did he do that? Like, what broke my hero? Why is my hero on an island?
Well, you know,
they put him on the island first.
Well, what put him there was you know, his nephew killed everybody, and maybe if he had done stuff more dramatic with that and how that whole thing transplayed, all that other stuff would have made more sense.
Sure.
Agreed.
If he would have done that, and it really maybe even did more flashbacks where Luke is training the kids and all that stuff, and how he's maybe even how strong Ben Solo is becoming, and how he's amazed at his abilities, and he's making, you know, Uncle Luke proud, and he's like even taking leadership. If you had scenes like that. Now, if somebody goes back and redoes it and cuts it together in that movie would make so much more sense. So someone go online and make a fan movie and do all those scenes and cut them in there and then submit it to Ryan and Lucasfilm, and maybe they'll release it. I don't know.
I'm writing down notes. So let's because we can. The Last Jedi is such a great topic because we can.
It is, but and the last one was just overdone, guys. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
that was too much fan service for me.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
Agreed.
I think they should have doubled down and went with what Ryan laid out, whether it was good or bad, and just said, "This is what we're rolling with." Rey's a nobody.
They should have.
Right.
Yep.
I think that too, because I think but I got to say, we were at Celebration 9 in Chicago, and I met a friend through Big Top again, Felix Solis, who's a great, huge actor. He's in Ozark, he's in Blue Bloods. Felix is a fantastic actor.
Yes, he is.
Became friends with him through Big Top, and we met each other in Chicago. And so during the drop of the trailer, the teaser trailer for Rise of Skywalker, we were sitting right next to each other, and we were like, oh my God, it was like a concert vibe. Everyone was so pumped to see this.
Right.
You love the trailer. I still love that trailer. But when we heard the Emperor laugh,
right, everybody exploded. Right.
It did. And then it was like lunchtime. I think maybe I called Chris because Chris was back in Colorado. I was like, oh my God, the Emperor. Was it you, Chris, or was it Dominic? Somebody was like, yeah, but how is that going to work? And I'm like, I don't care. It's the Emperor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We all were dying to have. Everybody. I remember that.
Yeah, a day later, we were like, wait a minute, how is this going to work?
Yeah, I agree. My initial reaction was, yes, wow. And then a day later, I thought, wait a minute. Yeah, so.
And that's a great idea too, Sarah. If Rey died at the end, and Ben lived,
that was the Rise of Skywalker.
That would have been even better. That's a great idea, Sarah.
I agree with that one. Yeah. It's funny, I was telling my daughter that yesterday.
Yeah.
Wow. That is crazy. Now there is one question that, again, but we're not going to bring up because it's going to be on another show, but I can't wait to ask you this question, and then I'll say, hey, this is what Eric said. So Chris doesn't want to do it live on air because he wants to save it for another show, but you know.
Speaking of that, since we're talking about Rey, I was at Galaxy's Edge and I got her lightsaber. This is Rey Skywalker's lightsaber.
Yes.
Nice.
Now is it yellow?
Yep, it's yellow.
Oh, dude, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I watch your videos too. And Eric, tell everybody about your channel, because I watch your videos when you're at Galaxy's Edge, and I haven't even been there yet. I've been to both coasts multiple times, but since Galaxy's Edge opened up, that's where we were actually on our way to before COVID ended everything for like the year. Like we were totally
for the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I'm a big, not just a Star Wars fan, but I'm a big sci-fi geek. And I was thinking, you know, Star Wars has its fandom.
Yep.
You know, Trekkies have, you know, Live Long and Prosper. They have their fandom. Stargate, everybody, whatever.
Battlestar.
But we all have aliens, right?
Flash.
Terminator.
Yep. But what about all for sci-fi? What about all of sci-fi? So that's what I came up with the name allforsci-fi.com.
Okay.
And that's what we're about. We're about all of sci-fi. And nowadays we're in a golden age of sci-fi movies and sci-fi television stuff. So we're very lucky.
Yeah.
So the timing's just right. And that's what we do. We do a weekly webcast that's on YouTube at All for Sci-Fi. And we give away action figures. We have like all you have to do is watch us as we're doing the webcast, and we might give away a figure like this.
Oh, nice.
Every week we're giving away a figure.
Nice.
For just watching it, and we'll send it to you for free. And you just answer the question correctly. It might be a trivia question or something we talked about, and you could get a free gift. And if more than 5 people get it correct, then we write the first 5 people that respond correctly, we write your name down, and you have a second chance to get it. But that's what it's about. It's about sharing a love for sci-fi. And like you said, you saw some of the videos, and this is my Darth Tyrannus one. I'm a big sci-fi geek. It's
oh wow, you've got Darth Tyrannus too, huh? Yeah, nice. Dooku.
The curved blade. That is.
I like that you called him Darth Tyrannus and not Count Dooku. I prefer Darth Tyrannus as a name.
Yeah. Oh. Well, the box actually says Darth Tyrannus on it too.
Oh, does it? Oh, yeah.
Yes, it does.
And it's always the way that the Emperor says it. Welcome back or welcome home, Darth Tyrannus.
Yes.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, I love the curved blade. Yeah.
That is awesome. And we do that on our Big Top show also, Eric. We play the Kylo high-low, the trivia questions every 15 minutes. We give away a lot of stuff too, because it's just
cool.
It's always fun for that.
But I mean, it's a great universe, guys. Then why not? It's just awesome. So
totally.
So let's do it really. Let's do a recap. So the original trilogy, yes. Prequel trilogy, more yes than no. And the sequel trilogy was.
Well, I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm not going to say no to it, regardless. I mean, come on, it still gives us something to watch.
Absolutely.
And it's still better than most. But I would say it's a soft yes. Then.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Now, where are you at on Mando, and what are you looking forward to in the future as we wrap up? Are you looking forward to the Rogue Squadron film, the Book of Boba Fett, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? What are you hyped for?
Yeah, I mean, the Book of Boba Fett, of course. Everybody's excited to see that. I'm excited to see what happens with the next season of The Mandalorian. I'm excited about that show about but now we don't know what's going on with Gina Carano, but that show that was developed within the Rangers or Night Rangers or what was it called? The Republic
Rangers of the Republic, I think.
Yeah, I was excited about that.
Yeah,
I wanted
me too.
to see that. That had me fired up.
Me too.
Anything that's bounty hunter related has me fired up as well. So, what else? I don't know. I'm not too.
Andor.
I'm excited. You know, I loved Rogue One. I thought it was a great movie. How they took just a little thought and made it into this bigger thing is brilliant from the scroll of the first movie. Yeah, and he's a great actor. So yeah, I'm excited to see that. I mean, I just think I think we're in good hands, and a lot of people don't give credit to Kathleen Kennedy. And I think that's a big mistake.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah.
Mic drop, and that's our show. I'm kidding. That's a mic drop, Eric, because I, again, no film insiders. I've studied film my entire life, and having conversations with about Kathleen Kennedy, and for me, to sum it up, and I don't want to upset anybody out there because I don't mean to, but for me, the best sentence was people talk about Kathleen Kennedy like she's not Kathleen Kennedy. And I think
Right.
if you know exactly what she's done, and
This is the woman who did everything that Spielberg produced for how long, guys? Come on, man.
well, she created Amblin Entertainment with Spielberg.
Right. So come on.
She won one Oscar award. I forget what it's called, but it's like basically like the Legacy Award, the first woman ever, out of like 4 people. And again, and then I always go to my fallback, which is like, well, what do you know that George Lucas and Spielberg do not know?
Right.
Because from my chair, again, even if we were playing it like you don't like Last Jedi or you don't like this, her records for me speaks for itself, because every Disney IP that she's produced is, you know, she's in the playoffs. She's like 5-3 or 6-2 or 7-1. You know, like you can say you like Force Awakens, you can say you like Solo, you can say you like Rogue One, you can say you like Mando, you can say, well, I don't like The Last Jedi, but I like Rise of Skywalker. But you know, she's like
there's parts of The Last Jedi you could say you like too.
Absolutely.
It's just and what happens is you got the internet, which gives a lot of people that never had loud voices before loud voices, when they should have never had it to begin with, probably. And I'm not trying to put anybody down in anybody's opinion, like you said. I respect everybody's opinion, but think about it. Come on, guys. And I mean, she's responsible for a lot of the stuff we still love. So
pretty much almost every movie that you loved from the 80s,
right,
Kathleen Kennedy was involved with.
That's right. That's true.
I was watching the end of ET was on Showtime the other night or whatever, and I was like, I just love ET. Then it's like the credits roll, and it's all executive producer Kathleen Kennedy.
Yep.
I was like, and then I just thought, because I follow my Indiana Jones page on Facebook, and it's like, here's Kathleen Kennedy, and you know, Spielberg's not directing
Frank
anymore.
Marshall, her
Frank
husband.
Marshall, absolutely. And it's just like, I don't know. I think it's just a bum rap. I think, you know, the first person through the door gets the bloodiest, and so I just think, you know,
right.
But
I hope she doesn't listen to any of it. So,
right.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I welcome that opinion, Eric. That is great. Anything else you want to throw out there as we wrap up on our first live show interview with you? Or
I'm still doing my passion, which is my music, and I just dropped a new single for my album that's actually going to drop July 9th. The album's called Take You Higher. And the second single, Take You Higher, and lyric video just came out last week. So you could go and listen to the song Take You Higher or watch the lyric video. The first single was Dare to Dream in a Galaxy Far, Far Away, which is an older song I wrote a couple of years ago, but I still released it as a first single for this album because it's Star Wars related.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm excited. It's the first album that has singing on it. And I have a partner friend of mine who does all the vocals, and I do the music, and I do rapping on the album as well. Yeah.
Dude, I never knew that.
Very cool.
First and foremost a musician also. I've worked with A-list talent, and I've been doing this. I have a guitar YouTube channel also.
That's great. I'm going to check it out now.
Yeah, I will definitely check. I didn't know you played. Do you play guitar then, or do you
I play keyboards.
Keyboards, there you go.
Synthesizers. If you go, in fact, you go on my music channel, that same friend who's singing on the tracks with me gave me a challenge a couple of years ago to write one song a week and show people how I compose. So I did it, and I actually wrote 52 songs one year, a couple of years ago.
Dang! Wow.
That's on. I do. Yes,
yeah. So where can people listen to your stuff, or when the album comes out?
Yeah, I mean, my official music website is ericwalkermusic.com.
Let me make a banner of that while you explain it.
And also you could look up, find me on YouTube at Eric Walker Music. You could find me on Facebook at Official Eric Walker. That's my fan page. Let's see what else. Eric Walker Music on YouTube. Yeah, and cool. my first 3 albums was nothing but electronic instrumental music, which is similar to like Tangerine Dream or Jean-Michel Jarre, Vangelis, if you know those. Similar like that. It's very atmospheric, but I got a funky bone in me, so I always write at least 1 or 2 funk songs and one song for my wife on an album. And what else? And this is my first time I'm having an album where actually there's lyrics and someone doing vocals, which is great.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm going to definitely check it out.
That is very cool. And I'm going to put this up here for you, Eric. Anybody out there also? It's a funny YouTube channel that my daughter came up with, and it's called Hey Dad Play Guitar. And it's basically, ever since my daughter was like 4, I play guitar every day. And
great.
I have a studio room, and so I'm always in there just just riffing and noodling. And my daughter would love to open up the door and go, "Hey, Dad, play Metallica." I'm like, "Okay." "Hey, Dad, play Vangelis." "Hey, Dad, play the Beatles." Yesterday, I got a "Hey, Dad, play Buddy Holly." And so what I do is I just do like these 30, 40-second videos, and I throw them up there, and it's hilarious, and the feedback is just fantastic. So if you also
I'm gonna check it out,
just type in "Hey, Dad, play guitar," and you'll see upteenth videos, and it's hilarious. And if there's any suggestions or any request, I can do those also, because like I hadn't heard of Buddy Holly in forever. And I'm like, I can play Buddy Holly. It's one of the first songs I ever learned. So that is really cool that we have that in common with Eric. That is awesome.
It's a small world, huh?
It is. Got anything else, Chris, as we wrap up?
No, man, I think it's just been great hearing from you. It's great just learning from you and hearing a bunch from you. So thanks again for joining us. Appreciate it.
It was my pleasure, guys. And it was fun. So that's always.
There we go. That's what we hope.
Great. Yeah. Yep.
That's really awesome. I just want to thank everybody again as we close out here. This is Star Wars from a Certain Point of View with Carlos and Chris. Special guest Eric Walker. Please check out his music channel on YouTube and check out his background. Just go to the internet and type in Eric Walker Ewoks, and there's all kinds of awesome stuff. And we can get more of your stuff out there, Eric. And again, I cannot thank you enough for your time, because I know time is very valuable for everybody here, and I appreciate it. And we will be in touch, because we want to do another interview with you, because we've got this great big question that we got to ask. But
you got it.
Chris wants to hold on to it. So
okay.
Can't spoil the spoil.
Yeah, right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you so much. Please subscribe and turn on your notifications so you do not miss a single episode. And we will see you again next Thursday. Good night, guys. Bye. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Good night.
Thank you, everybody.
Got it, Chris.